So you have some savings and you want to start growing your money through investing. The trouble is, where do we start? Do we take shots in the dark? Or is there a better way of thinking about how to get started investing? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is CJ and I'm an investor and software engineer in Chicago. And today I'm going to talk to you about the concept of Circle of Competence. In this video, I will describe what the Circle of Competence is, how you can figure out what's in your circle now, and how you can expand your circle going forward. Okay, let's get started. Circle of Competence is one of the many investment ideas popularized by Warren Buffett, and it's basically a folksy way of saying your area of expertise. In investing, our Circle of Competence could include different asset classes such as real estate, commodities, or stocks. It could include specific industries like manufacturing or technology or healthcare, or specific geographies such as companies in northern India or Orange County, California. Buffett helps us understand the concept of the Circle of Competence through a baseball analogy. Buffett often refers to Ted Williams' book, The Science of Hitting, to illustrate the concept of Circle of Competence. In this book, Williams shows an illustration of a strike zone divided up into about 80 different circles, each representing his batting average within that area of the strike zone. If he waited for a pitch at the center of the strike zone, his batting average was a lot higher than if he were to swing at a pitch on the edges of the strike zone. This is a perfect illustration of how we can think about the Circle of Competence. The difference between baseball and investing is that there are no called strikes in investing. We want to wait for a big opportunity to come across the plate right in our sweet spot before we take a big swing. If we're defining the Circle of Competence as your sweet spot or your area of expertise, how do you figure out what is actually in your Circle of Competence? You need to define and identify where you have an edge. Everything in this category falls into your Circle of Competence. The best place to start looking is in the industry in which you work or an area in which you're passionate about. For instance, if you build computers as a hobby, you probably have a pretty good understanding of which brands are the highest quality, which brands offer good value for the money, and which brands should be avoided at all costs. If you've been doing it long enough, you probably have some innate understanding of the supply and demand trends for more expensive components like CPUs and GPUs. If you work as a clerk at Walmart, you might have some understanding of the microeconomics of groceries or retailing. And at the very least, you'll have plenty of resources at your fingertips to figure out more about the industry. A word to the wise: don't confuse familiarity with expertise. Just because you use iPhone apps every day or browse for houses on Zillow doesn't mean you understand the software business or the real estate markets, but it could be a good place to start. We can further narrow down our Circle of Competence by asking ourselves some questions. Do you have a deep understanding of a specific industry? If so, is it deeper or different from your competitors? You'll be hard-pressed to out-analyze Warren Buffett when it comes to banking, financials, or consumer goods companies, but there is a possibility that you have a foothold in another industry in which you have deeper and more valuable insights. Buffett has famously avoided technology companies and paid the price for his misplaced bet with IBM because he doesn't understand them enough to have a unique or valuable insight compared to the other analysts in the field. In the stock market, there's a huge temptation to move in and out of stocks because there isn't a lot of friction to buying and selling. But when there's money on the line, there's a serious risk of permanent loss of capital when you go outside of your Circle of Competence. If you're asking yourself, do I understand this company? The answer is you probably don't. Like the saying goes, to ask the question is to answer it. You must be realistic about the boundaries and the perimeter of your Circle of Competence because it can be very costly to realize what you don't know until it's too late and you've already crossed the boundary. And it's perfectly okay if you don't understand something. For instance, I'll always pass on a pharmaceutical or biotech opportunity, even if it looks like a good one, simply because I don't understand the microeconomics of those businesses. Buffett literally has a too hard pile on his desk where he'll put all of the financial information about companies in industries in which he doesn't understand, can't understand, or isn't willing to spend the time to understand. You should have a set of filters in your head that helps you evaluate opportunities as quickly as possible and determine whether or not you should continue pursuing or just setting it aside and moving on. It's a big advantage when you're first starting out especially to narrow your scope of focus as much as possible because that's the easiest way to become an expert in a specific industry. Don't worry about the opportunities that come to you outside of your area of expertise. There will be plenty of opportunities among the thousands of publicly listed companies. With time, you'll become an expert in your area and you'll be able to expand to new horizons. Charlie Munger has a friend named John Arriaga who only invests in real estate within 1 mile of Stanford University's campus. In 40 years, Arriaga went from $0 to being worth $1 billion. All he did was keep his debt in check, buy houses when they were selling for low prices and sell them when they were overvalued, and he became a billionaire. So how can we define Arriaga's circle of competence? Is it US real estate? Nope. Is it California real estate? No. Is it Northern California real estate? Nope. It's literally real estate within 1 mile of Stanford University's campus. You do not need a massive circle of competence to be successful. If you have one area of expertise and stick to it, you can build enormous wealth. Whether you eventually become an industry expert or still feel like you don't know much, the good news is that you can always expand your circle of competence. In my opinion, always trying to actively expand your circle of competence makes investing a lot more fun and a lot more fruitful. The main way I and most investors would probably recommend you to expand your circle of competence is through reading. And I mean tons and tons of reading. If you don't enjoy reading, you're probably not going to love investing. You can read companies' annual reports, newspapers like the Wall Street Journal or Financial Times, industry and trade journals, business publications such as Forbes and The Economist. You can follow your favorite industry analysts or journalists on Twitter, or you can watch YouTube videos like this one. There's an endless well of information to continue to increase your knowledge about specific geographies, industries, and companies. Whether you're hyper-focused in one area like John Arriaga or seek to be a broad generalist like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, all it takes is one investment to change your life. But you don't want to squander your chances of building real wealth by knocking yourself out of the game early, speculating on something you don't understand. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed learning about the Circle of Competence. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this in the future. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.